If you're into Michael Connelly's crime novels or a fan of the Bosch series, then you've probably already heard about Ballard on Prime Video. Ballard is a fresh spin-off that zooms in on the cold case unit of the LAPD, starring Maggie Q as Detective Renée Ballard. Even though it's connected to the Bosch universe, it brings its own vibe and perspective, more personal, gritty, and raw. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Let's unpack it all. First, adapting Michael Connelly's books is no small feat. His novels have inspired tons of TV shows and movies because they're packed with detailed characters and complex stories. Ballard focuses on one of Connelly's newer characters, Renée Ballard, who's quickly become a fan favorite. The challenge was taking a written story and turning it into a TV show that both hardcore fans and new viewers can enjoy. You want to stay true to the books, but TV has its own rules and rhythms, so you gotta make some changes without losing the heart of the story. The creators behind Ballard really wanted to respect Connelly's work while making something fresh. They didn't want it to be just another cold case procedural, something that just shows the cops solving old crimes. Instead, they dug deeper, exploring the emotional toll these cold cases take on the detectives who work them, and even the corruption and struggles inside the LAPD system itself. One of the coolest things about Ballard is how it uses the cold case unit's unique position inside the LAPD. They're often underfunded and overlooked, which means they have to fight extra hard just to keep going. The show highlights this underdog vibe, showing the resilience and frustration of people who are trying to do the right thing in a system that sometimes feels like it's working against them. Also, even though Ballard is part of the bigger Bosch universe, it's not trying to just copy the original show. Instead, it builds on that world but adds a new angle, especially by focusing on a strong female detective who's fighting her own battles, both personal and professional, in a mostly male environment. All in all, Ballard is a must-watch for fans of crime dramas who want something with more depth and edge. When you hear Maggie Q's name, you probably think of those action-packed movies and thrillers where she's kicking butt and taking names. But playing Detective Renée Ballard in Ballard was a totally different kind of challenge for her. This role was about showing the real, raw side of what it means to be a detective, especially one dealing with cold cases and the emotional baggage that comes with that job. Maggie Q has been pretty open about how much she wanted to keep things authentic. And honestly, she went all in to bring Ballard to life in a way that feels genuine and grounded. Instead of just reading lines and memorizing scripts, Maggie really dove into the world of real-life detectives. She talked to both retired and active cops to get a better sense of their daily grind. One cool story she's shared is about attending a retirement party for a veteran detective. This helped her understand what it really means to wear a badge for years, dealing with stress, danger, and the emotional toll of trying to solve crimes that sometimes seem unsolvable. Maggie's portrayal of Ballard isn't just a one-note tough cop. She's layered. You see her toughness, sure, but you also catch glimpses of the vulnerability underneath, the frustration, the exhaustion, the moments when the job feels overwhelming. That mix of strength and fragility is what makes the character so relatable and real. Critics and fans alike have pointed out that Maggie's performance really stands out because it doesn't feel like she's playing a superhero. Instead, she's playing a human being with flaws, doubts, and a huge amount of heart. Another big part of Maggie's preparation was focusing on the female experience, especially in a field that's mostly male-dominated, like law enforcement. She's talked about how important it was to show the challenges women face on the job, not just the physical dangers, but also the emotional ones, like workplace bullying, harassment, and the constant fight to be respected and taken seriously. Maggie listened to the stories of women cops and crew members, learning about the microaggressions and outright obstacles they deal with every day. These real emotions come through in some of the toughest scenes, where Ballard faces both physical threats and personal setbacks. Maggie makes those moments hit harder because you can feel the weight of everything she's carrying. It's not just a crime drama, it's a look at what it means to keep pushing forward when the system isn't always on your side. One of the coolest things about Ballard is how much it really feels like you're right there in Los Angeles. LA itself is treated almost like another main character in the story, and that's a big reason why the whole thing feels so real and grounded. The filmmakers went all out to shoot in the real locations all over the city. They didn't stick to the shiny tourist spots or the usual Hollywood cliches. Instead, they found gritty, less glamorous corners of LA, where cold cases have literally been sitting untouched for years. You'll see everything from rundown neighborhoods to iconic places that fans of the Bosch universe might already recognize, which is a nice little nod for longtime viewers. What's great about using real locations like this is that it shows off how diverse and complicated Los Angeles really is. This city is a sprawling urban jungle with pockets of wealth rubbing shoulders with areas struggling to get by, all mixed with a vibrant cultural mix that's totally unique. And Ballard doesn't shy away from showing the tough, sometimes ugly realities that come with that. There are places where crime gets buried under layers of bureaucracy and time, and that's exactly where Ballard and her team have to dig in. It adds this gritty weight to the cases that feels really authentic, because it's based on the real LA experience. When you watch Ballard, you can tell the visuals have a lived-in quality. It feels like a real city that's been through a lot, with stories layered beneath every street corner and alleyway. That authenticity helps pull viewers in, making it easier to get invested in what's happening on screen. You're experiencing a piece of Los Angeles life alongside the characters. If you're a fan of Bosch, you're in for a treat with Ballard. But don't worry, the connection between the two shows is handled in a really smart and respectful way. Harry Bosch himself, played by Titus Welliver, does pop up in Ballard, but he's not hogging the spotlight or turning it into a Bosch reunion special. Instead, Bosch's appearances feel more like a supportive nod to longtime fans who know the bigger universe Michael Connelly created. He's kind of like a guiding hand for Ballard, there when she needs backup, but always letting her take center stage. The show respects Bosch and what came before, but it's not just riding on those coattails. Instead, it builds on that world and gives us a fresh story with fresh perspectives. The way Bosch and Ballard interact is pretty cool. They have this unspoken respect and understanding that comes from years of experience working tough cases. You can tell their relationship is built on shared struggles and mutual respect, which adds depth to the story without distracting from Ballard's own journey. But while Bosch's cameo is a perfect bonus, the real magic of the show comes from the ensemble cast around Maggie Q. These characters really bring the cold case team to life. Take Courtney Taylor's Samira Parker, for example. She's this passionate, complex character who's coming back to the force after some time away, and she's got her own personal battles to fight while juggling the high stakes of cold case work. Then there's John Carroll Lynch as Thomas Laffont, who's a retired detective but still a huge part of the team's world. His role is kind of like a mentor and emotional anchor for Ballard, adding a lot of empathy and heart to the mix. He's that steady presence who knows the ropes and isn't afraid to share some tough love or offer guidance when things get rough. What really makes the team shine is the chemistry between all the actors. You can feel it in every scene, the mix of dedication, frustration, and even the personal demons that everyone is dealing with. That dynamic makes the cold case unit more than just co-workers. They're like a found family, fighting against the odds together. Behind the scenes, the cast has talked about how collaborative and supportive the set environment is. That kind of positive vibe really comes through on screen because the actors feed off each other's energy and commitment. They're all focused on telling stories that feel emotionally honest and gritty, which is a big reason why the performances hit so close to home. Ballard is real, emotional, and all about justice and perseverance. With Maggie Q's amazing performance, authentic LA locations, and a respectful nod to the Bosch universe, it's a fresh, gripping ride. Thanks for watching Collider. See you next time.